Amara Nwoy grew up knowing she was the quieter twin. At 24, she still lived in Enugu, waking up early every day, helping around the house, and keeping to herself. Her twin sister, Chioma, was the opposite. Chioma laughed loudly, dressed boldly, and spoke with confidence. Wherever they went, people noticed Chioma first. Their parents always smiled wider when Chioma entered a room. When Chioma spoke, they listened. When Amara spoke, they barely looked up. At home, the pattern never changed. "Why can't you be more like your sister?" her mother often said without meaning to be cruel. Her father proudly introduced Chioma as our star, while Amara stood beside them like a shadow. Good grades, quiet obedience, and hard work never earned Amara praise. It only earned silence. What no one knew was that Amara had a whole other life hidden behind her calm face. Late at night, when the house was asleep, she opened her old laptop and designed logos, flyers, and social media banners. She taught herself everything through free videos and practice. Clients online didn't know she was the ignored twin or the quiet daughter. They only saw her talent. She worked under a simple name and never told her family. Not because she was ashamed, but because she had learned something early in life. Some dreams are safer when kept private. While Chioma shined in public, Amara was quietly building something of her own in the dark. She didn't complain. She didn't fight for attention. She just kept going, hoping that one day, her work would speak louder than her silence. A few weeks before Chioma's 25th birthday, the whole house suddenly became noisy and busy. Amara noticed it first. Her mother started making long phone calls every evening. Her father kept talking about Abuja, hotels, and guest lists. Boxes of decorations arrived. Tailors came in and out. Everyone seemed excited. One evening, Amara finally asked quietly, "What is all this for?" Her mother smiled proudly. "We are planning a big birthday party for Chioma in Abuja. A luxury one. All her friends will be there. Important people too." Amara forced a small smile. "Oh, that's nice." Inside, her heart jumped a little. Abuja was far. She had never been to a big party like that before. For a moment, she imagined herself dressing nicely, taking pictures with her sister, laughing like normal twins. She thought, maybe this time, I will be included. For days, she waited for someone to talk to her about travel plans, but no one did. Then one afternoon, while she was working on her laptop, her phone rang. It was her mother. "Hello, Mama," Amara said softly. Her mother didn't waste time. "Amara, listen to me. You are not coming to Abuja." Amara froze. "Not coming? Why?" There was a short pause. Then her mother said in a low voice, "Just stay home. Nobody needs you there." The words hit her like cold water. She tried to laugh. "What do you mean, Mama?" Her father's voice joined the call. "You know you are too quiet. Too simple. You will embarrass us in front of guests." Amara couldn't speak for a second. "Embarrass you?" she whispered. "Yes," her mother replied. "Chioma's friends are classy. Rich. You won't fit in. People will ask questions. It's better you stay back." Her hands started shaking, but she held the phone tightly. "Oh, okay," she said quickly. "No problem." They didn't hear the crack in her voice. "Good," her father said. "We knew you would understand." The call ended. Amara stared at her screen for a long time. The room felt too quiet. Her chest felt heavy, like something was sitting on it. She wanted to cry. She wanted to scream. She wanted to ask, "Why am I never enough for you?" But she didn't. That evening, she cooked dinner as usual. She smiled when Chioma talked excitedly about dresses and makeup. She helped her pack clothes. She even said, "Have fun in Abuja." Chioma hugged her. "Thank you, sis." Amara hugged back and whispered, "You're welcome." Later that night, alone in her room, she finally let the tears fall. She covered her mouth so no one would hear. Then she wiped her face, opened her laptop, and went back to work. If they didn't need her there, she would make sure the world needed her someday. After the phone call about the Abuja party, Amara couldn't sleep well for many nights. Each time she closed her eyes, old memories started playing in her head like a sad movie. Memories she had tried for years to forget. She remembered when they were in secondary school. Chioma once acted in a school drama. It was a small role, just 5 minutes on stage. But their parents dressed in their best clothes and arrived early. They sat in the front row, clapping loudly and taking videos. After the show, they hugged Chioma and bought her ice cream. That same year, Amara won first position in her class. She brought her report card home with shaking hands, hoping for a smile, maybe even a hug. Her mother only glanced at it and said, "That's good. But see your sister, she is confident. Books are not everything. No celebration. No special food. Nothing." Another memory came. Her university graduation day. Amara had worked so hard for that moment. Sleepless nights. Part-time jobs. Tears and prayers. She invited her parents weeks before. "Mama, Daddy, please come early," she begged. "It means a lot to me." They promised. That day, she wore her gown and sat among other graduates. She kept checking her phone. No message. No call. When her name was called, she walked to the stage alone. No familiar face in the crowd. No camera flashing for her. Later, she found out why. Chioma had gone for a friend's birthday party that same day, and their parents followed her there instead. She needed us, her mother said later, as if it was normal. You understand, right? Amara nodded, but something inside her broke quietly. Growing up, she was always compared. Why are you so shy like this? Look at Chioma, she speaks well. Why can't you dress better like your sister? Why are you always hiding? Every sentence pushed her further into herself. She started believing them. Maybe I am boring. Maybe I am not special. Maybe I don't deserve attention. She stopped raising her hand in family discussions. She stopped sharing her dreams. She stopped telling them about her online work. She learned how to smile and pretend she was fine. But deep inside, her confidence was dying. That night, after remembering everything, Amara sat on her bed and cried quietly. Not loud tears. Just slow, tired tears. The kind that comes when you are tired of hoping. She whispered to herself, why do I keep trying? Why do I beg for love that never comes? Why do I chase approval that is never given? For the first time in her life, she gave herself an honest answer. I'm done. She wiped her face and took a deep breath. From that day, Amara made a decision. She would stop trying to impress people who never saw her. She would stop shrinking herself to fit into their comfort. She would stop measuring her worth by their words. If her parents couldn't choose her, she would choose herself. And that choice changed everything. After the night she decided to stop begging for approval, something inside Amara changed. She didn't become loud. She didn't suddenly start arguing. She didn't announce anything. She simply became focused. Very focused. She poured all her energy into one thing, her online design work. She renamed her small freelance page Ami Creative Studio. It sounded simple, but to her it meant everything. It was her secret dream, her escape, her future. She redesigned her logo, fixed her social media pages, and created a small website using free tools she learned from YouTube. Every night, after everyone in the house had slept, Amara came alive. While others were dreaming, she was working. From 10 p.m. to 3 a.m., she sat on her small bed with her laptop on her knees. Sometimes the light would go off, and she would use her phone torch. Sometimes the internet would be slow, and she would wait patiently. Sometimes her eyes would burn from tiredness, but she refused to stop. She practiced every day. She redesigned old projects. She created fake brands just to practice. She made posters for imaginary companies. She fixed her mistakes and tried again. Slowly, her portfolio began to look professional. She started posting her work online, on Instagram, Facebook, freelancing sites, everywhere she could. At first, nothing happened. Days passed. Weeks passed. No messages. No jobs. Still, she didn't quit. Then one night, around 1 a.m., her phone vibrated. Hello, are you the designer from Ami Creative Studio? Her heart jumped. Yes, she replied quickly, trying not to sound desperate. The message was from a man in South Africa. He owned a small clothing brand and needed someone to design his logo, banners, and website images. They talked for 2 days. He liked her ideas. He liked her attitude. He liked her designs. Finally, he said, I want to work with you. Amara screamed silently into her pillow. They agreed on a price. It was more money than she had ever earned in her life. When the payment notification entered her phone, she stared at it for 5 minutes. She refreshed the app. Again and again. It was real. Her hands started shaking. Tears filled her eyes. She whispered, God, thank you. With that money, she bought a better laptop. She paid for stable internet. She saved some. For the first time, she didn't have to beg anyone for small things. More importantly, something else changed. She started believing in herself. She walked differently. She sat straighter. She smiled more. No one in her house noticed. They were still busy with Chioma's life. But Amara was building her own. Silently, patiently, powerfully. While the world slept, she was preparing for her moment. A few days after Amara's first big payment, she thought maybe things at home might change. Maybe, just maybe, her parents would finally see her effort and respect her work. But she was wrong. Her phone rang one morning. It was her mother, cheerful and excited as always. Amara, darling, we need you to help with Chioma's birthday in Abuja, she said. We've already booked everything, but we need some money for decorations, gifts, and the party favors. Amara's heart sank. She knew they weren't inviting her, yet they wanted her money. She swallowed the lump in her throat. How much? She asked quietly. Her mother rattled off an amount. It was more than half of her savings from her South African client. Amara closed her eyes. She had worked so hard for that money. It was her first taste of independence, her proof that she could survive on her own. But then she remembered Chioma's excited voice, the way her parents had planned the party, and a tiny voice inside her whispered, maybe it's okay. Maybe I can do this. I'll send it, she said softly, her hands trembling. After the call, she sat on her bed, staring at her laptop. The cursor blinked on the banking app. She typed in the amount, double-checked it, and pressed send. The confirmation popped up. She looked at the number, then at herself in the mirror. Tears ran down her cheeks, but she didn't make a sound. She had worked tirelessly, fought for her small victories, and now all of it was gone, given freely to people who didn't even see her. Her heart felt heavy, her chest tight, like a storm raging inside. For the first time, Amara didn't try to justify their behavior. No excuses, no reasoning. She just felt the truth. She was being used. It hurt deeply, but in that hurt, a strange clarity appeared. She had been quiet, polite, obedient, hoping for approval that would never come. But now she understood something essential. Their love wasn't conditional on her happiness or effort. It was about Chioma, and Chioma only. Amara wiped her tears and took a deep breath. She felt a fire ignite inside her, small but fierce. This was a turning point. She had been generous, patient, and silent for too long. No more. She promised herself that day. Her work, her money, her life would serve her first. Not Chioma, not her parents, not anyone who didn't see her worth. From that moment on, every late night at Ami Creative Studio, every design, every message from clients, it wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about building a life where she would never again be invisible, never again be used, and finally be seen for who she truly was. A few weeks later, Amara's phone buzzed with an email notification. She opened it and froze. Congratulations, you have been nominated for the African Digital Creators Awards in Abuja. Her heart skipped a beat. She read it again. The email was formal but clear. Her designs, her work at Ami Creative Studio, had been noticed across Africa. She had been selected as a finalist, and the award ceremony was happening in Abuja, the very same city where Chioma's luxury birthday party would take place. Amara leaned back in her chair, a mix of excitement and disbelief flooding her. This was her moment. Her talent, her hard work, her nights spent alone in her tiny room, were finally being recognized. For once, it wasn't about being quiet or invisible. It was about being seen and publicly. She paused for a second, thinking about the party invitation she had not received. Chioma would be surrounded by lights, music, friends, and family, while Amara sat at home, ignored and left out. A small smile crept across her face. Not because she wanted revenge, but because she realized she had a choice. She didn't have to sit in the shadows anymore. Amara spent the rest of the morning planning. She opened her wardrobe and sifted through her clothes. She didn't want anything flashy, no glitter, no big brands, no over-the-top styles. She wanted to feel comfortable, elegant herself. She chose a simple, well-fitted dress, a soft color that matched her calm confidence, paired with small gold earrings and natural makeup. She brushed her hair neatly, looking at her reflection. She didn't need approval. She needed to feel proud of herself. That evening, Amara packed her laptop bag with her portfolio, her designs, and a notebook with ideas she had been developing. She called a car to take her to the airport. Every step she took felt different, lighter, stronger, purposeful. She was no longer the invisible twin. She was a young woman who had fought in silence and was now walking into her own spotlight. On the plane, Amara stared out of the window at the city lights of Enugu shrinking below her. For the first time in years, she didn't feel the sting of being overlooked. She felt excitement, anticipation, and pride. Her parents could host all the parties they wanted, celebrate whoever they chose. But her moment, her recognition, could not be ignored. Amara closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and whispered to herself, "This is for me. All of me." By the time the plane landed in Abuja, her mind was clear. The awards ceremony was not just an event, it was her declaration. She would attend, shine in her own quiet way, and let the world see her talent. No one's neglect, no one's favoritism could hold her back. Tonight, she would step out of the shadows and finally be seen. The awards hall in Abuja was buzzing with energy. Bright lights, cameras, and excited chatter filled the room. Amara sat quietly in her simple yet elegant dress, clutching her small clutch bag. She felt a mixture of nerves and excitement, but mostly she felt calm. This wasn't about being flashy or showing off. It was about recognition, about all the years she had worked in silence finally being seen. As the hosts announced nominees for Best Young African Designer, Amara's heart pounded. She glanced at the other finalists, talented creators from across Africa, and felt a flicker of doubt. What if I don't win? What if this was just a dream? The envelope was open. The hosts smiled, and the microphone crackled. And the winner for Best Young African Designer is Amara Nwoy. For a moment, the room went silent. Then the applause erupted, loud, warm, and real. Amara's eyes widened. She couldn't believe it. Her hands trembled as she stood, walking toward the stage. The spotlight hit her face. Cameras flashed. The audience cheered. Her chest felt like it might burst with pride and joy. A live feed was being broadcast nationwide. Her name flashed across screens. Her picture appeared, and thousands of viewers watched as the quiet, hardworking girl from Enugu stepped up to claim her award. Social media exploded. On Twitter/X, hashtags like #Amaranwoy and #BestYoungAfricanDesigner started trending within minutes. Messages poured in from fans, fellow designers, and even strangers who had seen her work online. Back in Enugu, her parents were sitting in the living room, waiting for Chioma's birthday party livestream on TV. Suddenly, the news popped up. Their jaws dropped. The girl they had ignored, the one they never invited to the party, the one they always compared to Chioma, was winning a major award and being celebrated across Africa. Chioma, sitting beside them, froze mid-sip of her drink. Her wide smile faded, replaced with shock and confusion. Is that our sister?" she whispered. Her parents looked at each other, pale and speechless. Their voices were caught somewhere between pride, disbelief, and shame. They had spent so much energy celebrating Chioma, yet here was Amara, taking the spotlight they never gave her. Meanwhile, Amara held the golden trophy in her hands, feeling every ounce of struggle, every sleepless night, every tear and disappointment that had led to this moment. She smiled softly, walked down the stage with grace, and waved at the crowd, her eyes sparkling with quiet triumph. Tonight, she wasn't invisible anymore. She wasn't just Chioma's quiet twin. She was Amaranwoy, the girl who built her dreams in silence, who worked tirelessly while others overlooked her, and who finally proved that talent, dedication, and perseverance could not be ignored. And somewhere in that moment, she realized something important. Recognition from the world felt so much sweeter than the approval she had been chasing all her life. Back in Abuja, Chioma's luxury birthday party was in full swing. The hall was glittering with chandeliers, loud music, and people dressed in designer clothes. Waiters moved quickly with trays of champagne, and laughter filled the air, but none of it reached Amara. She wasn't there. And for her parents, the party was supposed to be perfect. But then news broke across social media. Screens around the party flashed with images and live clips from the African Digital Creators Award. A hushed murmur spread through the guests. People leaned closer to each other, whispering, pointing at their phone. That's their daughter?" Someone whispered behind a group of elegantly dressed women. "She's the one they never invite anywhere?" another voice added. The whispers turned into soft gasps. Guests scrolled through their phones, showing each other pictures of Amara holding her golden trophy, smiling confidently as cameras captured her every move. The name Amaranwoy kept trending on Twitter/X right in front of everyone. Amara's parents, who were standing near the cake, froze. Their smiles vanished. Pride, which they thought they had reserved for Chioma, twisted into shame. Their neighbors and friends were staring, their eyes wide, some murmuring quietly among themselves. For the first time, they saw what they had ignored for so long. Their daughter, Amara, who they had always overlooked, was now celebrated across Africa. Chioma, on the other hand, felt a strange and sharp pang of jealousy. She had spent weeks planning this extravagant party, imagining everyone admiring her. And yet, here was her quiet twin, standing tall on a stage thousands of miles away, earning attention and applause that Chioma had never received. Chioma's cheeks burned, and she clutched her drink tightly, unable to hide her frustration. The music and chatter in the hall suddenly felt hollow. Conversations died down. Laughter faltered. People who had been dancing or chatting paused to scroll their phones, watching Amara's victory unfold in real time. The carefully curated elegance of the party no longer mattered. The air was thick with awkwardness, murmurs, and disbelief. Amara's parents tried to force smiles, to redirect attention to Chioma, but the whispers only grew louder. Guests shook their heads slightly, exchanged knowing glances, and some even murmured words of admiration for Amara's achievements. For the first time, the family dynamic had shifted in public. The invisible daughter was now visible. The one they had ignored was being celebrated everywhere. The party, which was meant to showcase Chioma's life, collapsed quietly under the weight of truth. And somewhere far away, Amara, unaware of the chaos back home, held her trophy tightly, smiling softly. She had worked silently, built her life in her own way, and now the world was noticing her. She didn't need a party, loud music, or anyone's approval. Her success spoke louder than anything her parents or sister could ever orchestrate. That night, the tables had turned completely. The ignored became the celebrated, and the favorite child learned, for the first time, what it felt like to be overshadowed. The morning after the awards, Amara's phone rang. The caller ID showed her mother's number. She hesitated for a moment, then answered. "Amara, my baby, please talk to us." Her mother's voice trembled. It was a mix of fear, guilt, and something else, desperation. Her father's voice joined in, shaky and loud. We just wanted to say we're proud of you, proud." Amara listened quietly, her fingers tightening around the phone. She had imagined this call, but not like this. Not their tears. Not their sudden, frantic attempt to reach her after years of ignoring her. "You're crying now," Amara said softly. "But you didn't cry when I was left out of everything growing up." You didn't even show up at my graduation. And now you want me to believe it's pride." There was a long pause on the other end. Her mother sniffled. We didn't realize, we thought Chioma." Amara shook her head, though no one could see her. "Stop. I don't want excuses. I don't want explanations. I want the truth. And the truth is, you never cared to see me before. You never celebrated my work or my effort. And now that the world is seeing me, you want to take credit." Her father's voice cracked. "But we raised you, we gave you everything." Amara took a deep breath, keeping her tone calm but firm. "No, you gave me a roof and food. That's it. You gave me nothing else. No encouragement, no love that mattered, no support. You don't get to claim my hard work or my talent as yours. That belongs to me alone." Her mother started crying harder. "But we're your parents." "Yes, you are my parents," Amara said. "And as my parents, you had the responsibility to see me. You failed. You chose your favorite child. That's your choice, but it's not mine. I don't owe you my achievements, and I will not let you manipulate me with guilt or tears." Her voice softened slightly, not with weakness, but with clear resolve. "I built Ami Creative Studio with my own hands, my own sleepless nights, and my own sacrifices. I created my own life while you were busy ignoring me. That is mine, not yours, not Chioma's, not anyone's." There was silence on the line. Amara felt it shift, the weight of years pressing on both sides. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just spoke with calm clarity, the kind of voice that could not be argued. Finally, she said, "I will always love you in my own way, but I will no longer let your favoritism or emotional manipulation control me. I have boundaries now. I choose me. Always." Her parents said nothing. The line went quiet, the air heavy with unspoken regrets. Amara hung up, feeling a strange sense of relief and power. For the first time in her life, she had drawn the line. She had faced them, told them the truth, and refused to let guilt or tears manipulate her. She was done seeking approval from people who had never truly seen her. And for Amara, that calm, unwavering decision felt stronger than any award, louder than any applause. It was her victory in its purest, most personal form. Months passed, and Amara's life transformed completely. She used part of her earnings and awards money to open a small creative hub in Enugu, a place for young girls who loved design, art, and digital work, but had nowhere to learn. She wanted them to know that talent mattered, that hard work could create opportunities, and that no one's neglect could stop them from shining. The hub quickly became a safe space, buzzing with creativity, laughter, and dreams taking flight. Meanwhile, Amara moved to a luxury apartment in Lekki, Lagos. It was bright, modern, and filled with light, a reflection of the life she had built for herself. No one had forced her there. No one had given her this life. She had earned it with her talent, determination, and countless nights of hard work. For the first time, she felt fully independent. Her confidence grew with every project she completed, every girl she mentored, every client who recognized her skill. She looked in the mirror and smiled. Not the shy, quiet smile she had once given her parents, but a proud, unshakable one. She had rebuilt her self-worth brick by brick, learning that her value was never in someone else's praise, but in her own effort and belief. Sometimes she thought about her family, the parties, the comparisons, the favoritism, but those memories no longer hurt. They were just reminders of why she had chosen herself, why she had worked silently for years, and why she had built a life that no one could take away. One evening, watching the sunset from her balcony, Amara whispered softly to herself, a smile playing on her lips. "I stopped begging to be seen. Now the whole world sees me." Her journey had come full circle, from invisible twin to celebrated creator, from ignored daughter to a woman whose light could not be dimmed. And this time, she shone for herself and for everyone who dared to dream like she once did.